In my Bible study on angels, I talked about how the angels are created by God. And as the angels are created by God, something that we need to understand is all things were created by God, and that includes Satan. Satan himself was created by God. But something that we need to understand, that when God created all things in absolute perfection. God created everything perfectly. And when he created Satan, he also created him perfectly. However, God did not create Satan in the way in which that we see him today. And so, how did God create Satan? God created Satan as Lucifer. Who was Lucifer? What does the name Lucifer mean? The name Lucifer means the brilliant one, the shining one. You know, when we look at the name of Lucifer, we see something that is beautiful. We see something that is magnificent. We see something that is spectacular, and certainly not what sin, his own personal sin, had caused him to be, and the consequences of his own choices of trying to rebel against God. But the Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 14, and beginning in verse 12, it says, "How you have fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, son of the dawn." And we even kind of see, God grieving about that a little bit. Oh, how you've fallen from heaven, star of the morning, son of the dawn. Remember, he is Lucifer. He is the brilliant one. He was rather before the fall. He is that glowing one. If we was to look at him before his fallen state, what we would begin to recognize is that how beautiful and glorious and spectacular he is. Why? Because God created him that way. Now, tomorrow we're going to look at the consequences of sin and how we look at him now and why we look at him the way we look at him now. But let's focus on what we're talking about today. When God creates, God makes things absolutely perfect. And the reason why that's important for us to understand is because it's sin and it's pride that in rebellion against God, that's what sin is, that causes things to be corrupt. But when God creates perfectly. In fact, you look at the very last verse in Genesis chapter 1. After God created all things, what does God say? He said it's very good. God's creation is very good. Even Satan, who was Lucifer before his fall, before his rebellion, was good. He was perfect because God created him in that manner. It was his pride, his rebellion against God that caused him to fall. But what God created was brilliant, was beautiful, was spectacular. Friends, we need to turn back to God. We need to turn back to him. Sin has corrupted all sorts of things. But you know what? When we turn back to him, he will redeem it. Now, Satan has no opportunity to turn back to God. His chances are over. But you know what? We need to turn back to God. And anything that Satan's corrupted within us, God can and God will redeem it.